As most of us know, playing the point guard position is an art form. As the game has evolved, so has the role. Of the PGs of his era, Nick Van Exel was as tough as they come. High IQ, could run his offense, pick his spots, and was a flat-out tough cover. Both coming out of the 1993 draft class, he and Penny brought the position forward in their time. Sitting down now, they not only look back, but look forward on how both the position and the game are trending. And they share a common point of view. For Penny and Nick, they see so much promise in today's players. As we find out, they tip their hats to the amount of talent, unique abilities, and skill that is played by the point guards of this generation. But make no mistake, they of course could also get buckets in today's game, or any era for that matter. It's two point guards sitting down on the 2 Cents podcast. Nick Van Exel on this episode, very special episode. Don't forget, catch every episode of the 2 Cents podcast as soon as they drop. Just subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Yo, what up? Welcome back to my 2 Cents podcast. Back like we never left. Got a special guest right here, my man Nick the Quick Van Exel. What's up, Quick?
What's up, P?
My man, appreciate you coming on. We are in Vegas right now at my golf tournament. It's the first golf tournament, soon to be annual golf tournament out in Vegas during my birthday week. And Quick and some other guys from Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans, all over the place are here playing golf, and we're shooting the breeze right now. So my man Quick and I go way back. Kenosha, Wisconsin, man, right here, Trinity Valley for a couple years, and then that's when I met him. We can just start with Trinity Valley, though.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, Trinity Valley, wow. The reason why I went to Trinity Valley was because of Sean Kemp. And people don't understand this. So I went there, and on my recruiting trip, they fly me into Houston, Texas.
Okay.
So Houston, Texas is about 3 hours from Trinity Valley. So I get to Houston, and back then, there's no cell phones.
Okay.
So we broke as hell back then. And I was dead serious. So I'm sitting at the airport, and I ain't got no money, nothing. And so I'm just sitting there waiting on the coach to come pick me up. So I got to get on the cell phone, the payphone. Put his number in. I'm like, Coach, where you at? He's like, I'm here at the airport. I said, I'm at the airport. And he says, where you at? I said, I'm right here, such and such. Long story short, this motherfucker is in Dallas. I'm in Houston. So I got to wait 3 hours for him to come pick me up.
Oh, my God.
And when I get there, the trip was cool. You know what I'm saying? I was my first time in Texas. Didn't know nothing about Texas. Houston, Dallas, didn't know nothing about it. And I just knew that Sean Kemp had went there.
Okay.
And the thing was with him was like he just catch everything.
Yeah.
He just throw it up, he catch everything. You two would be great. I said, hell yeah. Like, because I knew who he was, but I didn't know him.
Yeah.
I knew he went to Kentucky. He was a McDonald All-American. And, man, when I tell you I signed on the dotted line because he was there, man, this dude put his name in the draft the week after I signed.
You think it?
Never met him. Never played with him, nothing, because he went into the draft. And so now I'm stuck because I'm like, damn, I came down here just to play with him.
Yeah.
And he bounced on me.
Wow. Well, I mean, you couldn't blame him on that, but a week after you signed, I think that was a little he could have just told you, but I guess the coach told him, don't tell Nick that you're not going to be here.
Nothing. I had no idea.
So how did Hug start coming down, and where did he see you at?
So it was the recruiter for Cincinnati at the time was Steve Moeller.
Okay.
And this dude, he can sell water to a well. Like he literally like, so you know how Cincinnati, it's kind of like Memphis. You got the water.
Yeah.
Mississippi River, whatever it is, same thing. Man, we got a beach. We got this, we got that. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, okay, so Cincinnati, it is what it is. But the reason why I went to Cincinnati, like mainly, was because I can go back home. I can play Wisconsin, was Marquette.
Yep.
And DePaul was
right
in
there.
Chicago. So that was the main reason I went there. And also was because we had Corey Blunt was JUCO Player of the Year in California. Eric Martin was first team California. And Terry Nelson was first team California. So I'm like, well, them dudes probably was ballers, but I didn't know them.
Right.
But they come from winning programs, and first team is first team.
Yeah, so for me, you came right into our conference, and every one of those guys that you name, including yourself, I knew nothing about.
Right.
And when I tell you these dudes were unbelievable, that team, everybody you name, from Terry Nelson to Corey Blunt, I mean, even Herb Jones, rest in peace.
Whew.
People don't remember
Beast.
Herb, man, just rest in peace.
Beast.
But yeah, that team was
Yeah.
crazy, man. And you didn't know any of them until for Hugs to bring that together like that.
Man.
How was that entire experience? That especially the year y'all went to the Final Four.
Yeah. So basically, P, it was like when we got together, it was like I said, like them guys winning so much in California because Corey Blunt and Eric Martin played on the same team in JUCO. And they lost like 2 games or 3 games like in 2 years.
Yeah.
And they played Terry Nelson's team, the Long Beach team, in the championship. So what Hugs did was like JUCO was the thing at the time.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know how he did it, but he just like, he was a JUCO guy. He just molded, you know what I'm saying? And the way he molded was like, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to run through this wall, and he's going to have your back. You know what I'm saying? So it was more of a thing like we kind of felt coming from JUCO that everything was against us. You know what I'm saying? So we always felt we had something to prove.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes that can go the wrong way because guys want to go this way, they want to go that way. But we was like, none of us had the perception of going to the NBA. The only thing we cared about was winning.
And y'all played like it. Y'all played hungry.
Yeah.
Y'all played driven. Y'all played like y'all had that chip on y'all shoulder every game.
That was it. And it was because of Hugs. Like Hugs, like, dude, when I tell you, man, our practices used to be so crazy. Like we lost we up in Michigan State at 18 at the half and lose the game in overtime. And this dude comes in, he got a fresh rollie. He take it off and he just slam it against the wall. So we like, man, this dude is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And excuse my French, he was like, you think you guys are gonna my Christmas? No fucking way. Dog, we got back to Cincinnati, whatever the flight was, we got back to Cincinnati and had a 5-hour practice the same day. And when I tell you, like, damn near the whole team got kicked out of practice. So, like, when we getting kicked out, like, T-Rat would get kicked out. And then I would get kicked out. So now he got to go, the coach, assistant coach literally got to go in the locker room. Rat, come on, he just kicked Nick out. AD, come on, he just kicked Rat. Like, it was like, no, I'm dead serious. It was a 5-hour practice, dog. And we was like, this dude is crazy. But the thing is, like, we bonded together. And we came to a point, like, we had so much good leadership, like Herb Jones, Anthony Buford, Alan Jackson. Them dudes would be like, you know what? F him. You know what I'm saying? We playing for each other.
Right.
And like when I tell you, like, the bond we had, like, for each other, and we loved Hugs, and as much as he cussed us out, we just bonded together. Like, if he kicked you out, like, come on, dog, you good. Come on, you good. Like, the bond was just crazy, like a teammate bond.
Yeah, his philosophy worked because how he came in with the mentality to go crazy, the player-led team and the energy that you guys gave each other, it just overcame. That's ultimately what he wanted. What he wanted was for that to happen. Like he said, man, forget what he's saying. He wanted y'all to come and be closer, and it worked. So when you look at that style of coaching back then, how many guys, and I'm not knocking, you know, everybody always, let's just say this for right now. For the young guys out there, the Tyrese Halliburtons, the Jason Tatum, all that, we love y'all, man. Y'all are the guys, man. We're not hating on anything. But when we talk about eras, as far as the Hugs, because he was one of the ones, because there was plenty of those old school coaches back then. This day and time of just a normal, just athlete coming in. I know Hugs has coached in this era, but I'm talking about the Hugs that coached you. Has he gotten softer with these guys than he did? Could he have coached the same style with y'all now?
Not a chance. Not a chance. and so my teammate, Eric Martin, he coached with Hugs for double-digit years.
Yeah.
And he would always tell us, like, man, Hugs has gotten soft. Like, Eric, California dude. So,
Yeah.
you know, they got that lingo.
Yeah.
Hugs has gotten soft. And I'm like, what you mean, E? He's like, oh, he may yell and then he may backtrack, you know what I'm saying? And because of the fact that you can go to administration, you can tell, next thing you know, you're losing your job. And so Hugs was he just wanted to win. Like, he didn't give a damn. Like, he just wanted to win. And he used to always tell me, we used to always call, man, why Hugs doing it? He can't coach like that no more.
Right.
Like, it's just difficult because the players are not allowing them to coach like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's different.
Yeah, I think that his job description was coach, because I'm a coach, but the first order of business was win,
Right.
and that's what he wanted. So we go through your career at Cincinnati, had an unbelievable career, and then you go to the draft, 37th pick to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going in as an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Because your talent, we know you weren't a 37th pick, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You were a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
To the guys out there who have the talent
Mm-hmm.
that don't go high, that you went in with that same chip and made a name for yourself on your shoulders. Just talk about the draft, entering, and then getting drafted 37.
So I don't know if you remember, but I signed with the Postons.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you signed with the
Yep.
Postons, and I'm like, you know what? The Postons they probably gonna be pretty good in this, but they probably gonna have to work a little bit more for me. They're gonna have to work for you.
Right.
So I'm like, I got to get a guy with some experience. So I had to fire them just because of that reason alone, because I didn't know if they can like handle a guy like me, you know what I'm saying, not being drafted in the first round or whatever.
Right.
And like for me, like they told me, anywhere from 12 to whatever. And so I ended up slipping to 37. And part of it was because of some of my workouts that I had. So I went to Seattle and George Karl. Like, this was so crazy. We did,
different crazy though.
we did a workout, and I got so many workouts after Seattle. So I'm working out, and Terry Stotts.
Yep.
Oh, we play one-on-one. He killing me. Terry Stotts killing me one-on-one because he was so much
Big
bigger
boy.
than just beating me up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I can't score on this motherfucker. and so at the end of the workout, this dude wants me to do fives. Bam, 5 of them. I'm dead tired. And I know I got workouts after that. So I'm just jogging. So after the first one, G. Carl comes up to me. He was like, son, you notice the NBA draft, and you you got a reputation and blah, 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 blah. He's like, so this next 5, he said, the next 5, he said, run a little bit harder. I looked at him, I said, Coach, the next one's gonna be a cool down. so he literally put me on the line, and I like tried it. I'm like, man, I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying? And I told him, I said, man, y'all got GP. I said, y'all got Dana Barrows. Like, they had a plethora of guards. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, like, y'all not going to draft me anyway. So I think that was one of the reasons. Then my Charlotte workout. I went to Charlotte. I killed that Charlotte, though. But I missed one of the workouts because I'm playing. I don't know what it was, but me and my homeboy, we just playing the game all night. And when I say all night, I probably went to sleep about 5 in the morning. And I had like an early flight to go work out. And I just told him, I said, I can't make it.
Man, that's tough, boy. You was on the edge back then because, everybody's like, but you knew your gift, but it was almost like disrespectful to you, like, I got to go through this. But at the end of the day, I'm sure that made you stronger as well. Our draft, to me, is one of the most slept-on drafts. We don't talk about draft classes. They talk about 96, but 93 had some ballers in that draft, man.
Yes, sir.
That draft. Do you feel like that was one of the most slept-on drafts for sure? And,
I do because – I actually thought, like, when that draft happened, and I'm looking at it, and I thought that Orlando probably should have took you first because of the situation with Shaq, and I knew what you could do. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I knew your game, and I'm like, man, why are they doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All this blah 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 blah. But the draft, we just had so many guys like a Sam Cassell.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out
Calvert
Sammy.
Chaney.
Yeah.
Sam was my guy.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many guys that can do so many different things. You know what I'm saying? And, they talk about it a little bit, but we don't get the credit that I think we should get. But the guys from our draft, like, we when we got into the league, like, we was balling.
Yeah.
We was balling.
Yeah, everybody in that draft came in and did what they had to do.
For sure.
Now, you get drafted to the Lakers. It's a rebuilding Lakers. Now, a lot of people don't even kind of put that in the same sentence, Lakers rebuilding. I mean, It's been a couple times in the history of the franchise where it's been rebuilding, and you were a part of that. How was that coming out as coming out of Cincinnati where you've been winning?
Right.
And like you said, there was the culture that you were in, And then you come into a storied franchise that has a ton of championships, but they're in a rebuilding. How was that?
So honestly, it was when I got there. So it was pressure from like the media. So I never like cared about the media and putting pressure on nobody. Like to me, it's like I always thought pressure didn't exist. Like I didn't care about pressure, and they would always be like, "No, you're following magic," and like I didn't think about that because I didn't look at it as in the big scope of things. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have, but I didn't. And so my thing was like, we just gonna hoop. Like I'm just gonna hoop. And I think I was blessed because Jerry West, he told me that we're gonna start you. He told me that in the summertime. And we had Sedell 3. I wasn't better than Sedell 3.
Sedell 3, shout out.
Sedell 3 was a left-handed.
Smooth.
Oh my God.
Smooth.
Right-handed, but going left, he was cash money. And I wasn't better than him. And I knew I wasn't better than him. But Jerry West was like, we're trying to change the guard. Changing of the guard. That's what they used to say, changing of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me the opportunity. And at the time, it was Randy Fun was our coach.
Yep.
And they just started me. And to this day, I thank Sedell Threet because Threets was a guy who he knew he was better than me. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was better than me. I think management and everybody else knew he was better than me, but he never gave that, assumption to me like, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't like you. He never gave that to me. He always helped me out. You know what I'm saying? And Threets, like, to me is like, when you talk about vets and having good vets, like, to me, like, he was a vet that was just like, man, I'm going to help you be the best, guard you can be. And to me, that was a blessing for me.
Yeah, you talk about Sedell 3. I had Scott Skiles. Scott Skiles kind of had the same situation where when they brought me in, they had to change another guard, and he accepted it.
Right.
So back then, those OGs that accepted it, they were pros pro. They were pros pro. They knew exactly what it was all about. They weren't going to fight it. They knew they were going to still get their money. They still had to take care of their family, but ultimately they wanted to win.
Right.
And they took you under their wings. So shout out to Scott Skiles and Sedell 3 and those veterans like the Brian Shaws and guys that were playing, and then when rookies came in, that was a changing of the guard. That it wasn't like they were bound down. It was like, okay, this young fella's it's his turn, but I'm still gonna do me. So shout out. So what would you say to? Because there's a bunch of rookies that won in college that get to the NBA and then they lose. You say to guys like, I'll just take for instance, who can I say? I can just say a kid like Jalen Duren. He played at Memphis. He won his whole career, high school. He won AAU. He won all these. He won everywhere he went. He came to Memphis. We won 20-plus games. Then he got to the NBA. He got drafted by Detroit. It's just a part of the game.
Yes.
The Pistons are going to be ascending very soon. But you were a guy that won. How do you talk to a kid like Jalen Duren or someone that's in this year's draft that won, that has to go to a franchise that's rebuilding and doesn't have that winning culture?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I was just reading some on Josh Jacobs, the running back from the Raiders.
Yeah.
That was with the Raiders. He was talking about when he was in Alabama, like they barely lost, and then he go to the Raiders, and he felt that they were telling him to accept losing, but it's not really. They don't want you to lose, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You playing against pros. And for these young guys that come from winning programs, I just tell guys, like, you just got to be ready. Those guys in those other locker rooms, they're veterans. They understand it. And a lot of young players, they don't understand winning at the professional level.
Right.
I don't give a damn how much talent you got. I don't care what you did in college. Because when you get to the pros at any pro sports, college don't mean nothing.
Right, facts.
It means nothing, and they don't care about it. They don't care about all the awards you got in college. The pros don't care. You know what I'm saying? I came on the team with James Worthy. You know what I'm saying? 3 to 5 chips. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't give a damn what I did in college.
Right.
Man, that shit don't mean
I
nothing.
didn't even watch the Final Four, dude. Who are you?
Who are like, for real? You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, like, you guys got to stay grounded. You got to stay hungry. And at some point, you would be the veteran. I used to coach Jeff Teague and Jordan Crawford, 2 young guys, and both were
go-getters.
They both were
Shout
dogs.
out to them 2 goons.
Oh, they both were dogs.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there just trying to just give them the game. I'm telling them the whole time, it's going to go fast. Like, you a rookie now, your second year now, but That 13th, you're going to be like, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to cherish it, take advantage of it. And one time we were in San Antonio, and I see Coach Rudy Tomjanovich sitting in the stands. And I go up and talk to him, because Rudy, championships with Dream and everybody, the Rockets. I say, Coach, what you doing here? He was like, oh, I'm just coming here to watch the guys work out. And I said, what you watching? He was like, I just want to watch their workouts, how they work out, how they respond on the bench to coming out of the game. If they're not playing, how they're responding. And so I said, okay, hold on a second. So I literally went back on the court. I got Jordan and Jeff to come. I said, man, bring y'all ass up here.
Right.
I said, Coach, blah, blah, blah. He said, I know these guys. I said, tell him what you just told me. He told him the exact same thing. And so my thing is like, man, y'all guys were good in college. It don't mean nothing. So you guys got to stay grounded, stay hungry. And when you get your opportunity, make the best of it.
Yeah, I was at Aces game the other day, sitting next to John Wall.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example of a guy who, to me, deserves an opportunity to get back in.
Facts.
John Wall, one of the best guards in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what's happened. He's come back from injury. He's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to John Wall, and hopefully he gets that opportunity. But that's how fast it goes.
Quick.
And right now, he's given the NBA the understanding, hey, I want to get back in. I want to help your young guys because I know I've been that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can help those guys through that process now that I know that I've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, it goes fast. Another thing, we were playing the Hawks when I was still in Orlando, and I don't know who the assistant coach was. He brought Jason Terry up to me, Jet, and was like, man, this guy reminds me of you. Now Jet is coaching at Utah. I'm telling you, man,
Quick.
it's just like it's like yesterday when it happens, and then it just goes really fast.
Quick.
And they really need to understand that it's not going to be easy, but you better take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
For the guys who have that, oh, man, I ain't worried about that. Let's talk about them guys. You've seen those guys. I'm not worried about the guys that don't listen. How long do they have in the league?
They don't have long. They don't have long because, for one, like you say, they may come from a winning program, but they getting that bread on the 1st and 15th, and they think that bread is what's making them. You know what I'm saying? And so now what happens is they start to lose a little bit of the come in early, leave late mentality. You know what I'm saying? And once you lose that as a player, you get a reputation. You may come late to a few practices, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So a lot of guys, to where if they don't have their minds right, which is a big part of it, you know what I'm saying, you want to come in late, you get a reputation. And once you get a reputation, it's hard to shake it. And you may not even be a bad person.
Right.
You may be the greatest person in the world, and everybody in that organization likes you, but it's a few people who may, once the scouts come and talk to certain people, they may say this, may say that, may be negative, and it's hard to shake that. And I tell young guys all the time, like, if you sitting on the bench, man, be ML Carr.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wave that towel. Be the first one off the bench. Dap everybody up. And when you get your opportunity, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of young guys, it's hard for them because they come from, if you make it to the NBA, you probably been great everywhere you've been. You probably been great in grade school, high school, college. You probably been the man everywhere you've been.
Yeah.
And when you come into a situation where you playing behind Kawhi, PG, Kevin Durant, you know what I'm saying? You can accept it, but mentally it's like it's eating your brain up. You know what I'm saying? And I tell a lot of young guys, man, you got to stay grounded. You got to keep working. And when you get your opportunity, that is your opportunity.
Yeah.
You can't blame the coaches. You know what I'm saying? A lot of players blame coaches and they doing this. Man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody can't take 15 dribbles and get a shot off.
Right.
Sometimes you got to cut. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to get an offensive rebound, no matter what you did in high school or college. And it's hard for a lot of guys to accept that.
And I'll go even deeper than that. Sometimes when you get your 2 shots that game, you got to make one of them.
You got to.
I mean, you might not get but 2 shots a game.
Yes.
You can't miss both of them. That just might be it.
Let's take a 2 cents timeout. The NBA season is rolling right along. It's been terrific. Get in on all the action playing Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA. Pick 6 is for all you stat heads to test your knowledge and win First, download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, then select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. You know right now LaMelo and Giannis are locked in, but look at the matchups they're facing and the defenses they're going up against. James Harden is shooting at an all-time great historic level, but it comes down to trends and who's hot week in and week out. It's Pick 6. For first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. That's play $5 to get $50 in Pick 6 credits. The fun of the NBA season continues the most fun way to play fantasy sports, Pick 6 from DraftKings. Download the Pick 6 app on DraftKings now and use code PENNY. That's code PENNY for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Yes.
But that's it. So you took advantage of your moment. But what was your? We all have our moments. What was your aha moment? That moment you was like, oh damn, I'm in the league now. This dude he's kind of getting at me. What was that moment for you?
Getting at me moment was wow. That's,
one of those games you was like, I've seen this dude, but I'm in the game. It's way more difficult than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. So I was just talking about this with some guys, and we was talking about Mahmoud. And, so, when you go through the scouting report, they tell you to move. You know what I'm saying? And what's his go-to move? His go-to move was pop pop. You know what I'm saying? And
Quick.
then if he don't get you with the pop pop, he gonna hit you with the pump fake.
Yep.
So I can remember like it was yesterday. He hit me with the wop wop, and they told me stay down. I just go flying after he hit me because I'm over here already. So now I'm trying to make up. Man, Mahmoud hit me with that. And then he hit me with the, you know what I'm saying? I'm just flying like way over there. And when he did this, he hit me with that.
Oh, yeah. Like, he going to get you with that.
Yes. So it's so many guys that would, Rod Strickland. Oh, my God.
Yeah, shout out to Mahmoud and Rod. Rod Strickland, man, they don't talk about him enough when it comes to guards, man, with body control, finishes. I mean, he got the midi. He never shot threes like that, but he got to his midi, and to the layup game was ridiculous. You talking about Kyrie?
Oh.
He had all that. Shout out to Kai. But, man, Rod Strickland, super smooth, man.
Yes.
Just ridiculous out there.
So Dale Threet used to always tell me, he said, when you play against the top guards, you got to get them first. And I always remember that because he says, like, if you playing against Rod, Kenny Anderson, Steph Marbury, Johnson, anybody said, you got to go at them first. Because if you don't go at them first, they probably going to already be coming at you. So if you kind of like set the tone, like, look, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you give yourself a chance. But if you just sit back and do this and do that and don't be aggressive, he said, you're going to be a fish in water.
Yeah, I had a moment with Isaiah Thomas when he was retiring, man. And we were in Detroit. And we was playing, and I got the best of him the first half because, I posted up a lot. And I love Isaiah. I think he's the best small guard. It says small guards.
Facts.
Man, Isaiah, ridiculous. Facts. And I played him in the first half. He came to me at halftime and said, young fella, I'm going to see what you got.
Right.
Like, I'm not about to let you just do this to me in front of my people.
Zeke.
He shot town to the fullest.
Yes,
Zeke,
sir.
you know that.
Yes, sir.
And, man, third quarter, man, or fourth, I can't remember which quarter it was. He tore his Achilles, bro.
Yes.
That ended his career.
Yes.
And, man, I went back after that was over with, man. I almost cried, bro, because I was like, this legend who I love, and I ended up playing for him in New York. But I was like, that's how he kind of ended his career. I don't know if he played another game after that. And that was my moment for me where I was like, I arrived in the first half, and in the second half when it happened, I was like, man, it was just one of those two things. And obviously other guards. I mean, Joe Dumars. I'm guarding Joe Dumars, and I'm talking. What I'm doing talking to Joe Dumars? Come on. Stop it.
That was us.
Come on. But that was us.
Yeah,
Little
was
hardhead,
us.
little rugrats out in 93 class. We were hardheads. But Brian Hill, who was our coach, he saw me talking to Joe. Sub. I'm jogging, Pam. What happened? Don't talk to Joe. Coach, I'm good. You're
Let's
not
get
good.
me going.
That get me going. No, don't wake up a sleeping dog. And, he was smooth, getting to his buckets. It was a totally different team. He was playing with Grant Hill. And, but there was a moment where he just gave me some buckets to let me know, pat me on the hip like, I still got some, young fella, whatever.
Right.
And the other one was Reggie Miller. Guarding Reggie off them screens. Whew. That was the hardest thing I had did my freshman year was really, outside of guarding you and GP, because y'all just flying up and down the court and GP being even-handed, Gary Payton. That dude shot a lot of left-hand shots.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
sir.
you didn't know which hand. I think he right-handed, but he was shooting a lot of left-hand. I was like, this dude is kind of, I studied him or whatever, but that game against Reggie, man, my rookie year, flying off them screens, getting smacked by Dale Davis and the Davis
Dale
boys.
Antonio
and
Smits.
Dale Antonio and Smits and man, all them cats, man, setting screens for him, man.
Yeah.
Derek McKee. That team is crazy. So for me, that was my aha moment, man, when I went in against Isaiah. And then I had Joe Dumars, and then Coach snatched me out for talking. And then obviously everybody else. But at the end of the day, Reggie Miller was one of them dudes that was nonstop.
Yes.
Steph does the same thing right now. So this era kind of feels that pain with how they get him open. But man, Reggie was a master of all that. Who was someone as you got older that you kind of took under your wing like Sadell did you? Like who was somebody that when you got older you was like, young dude, this is just his show, but I know I can still hoop and I can help, just kind of how Sadell did with you.
So I had a couple. So I really wasn't as old, but Derek Fisher came to our team with the Lakers. And he came with Kobe in the Kobe draft and, Shaq at the same time. And, D. Fish, he was like just a pit bull on defense. Yep. And he used to shoot free throws, and he probably was shooting like 40%, 50% from the free throw. So kind of helped him out with his free throw. And, he became one of the guys that became one of an elite shooters. You know what I'm saying? So me and D. Fish has always been cool. I tried to help him out. I had an injury one year. And so they started D. Fish, and I became healthy. So we're about to go into the playoffs, and Dale the whole time is like, okay, we're gonna throw you back in the starting lineup. And I'm like, nah. I said we kind of good right now. Let D. Fish keep rolling.
Yeah, and that's real
because my confidence is good.
Yeah,
like so we don't want to make him, take a step back. Yeah. Let him keep starting. So eventually they put me back in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, no, let him rock out. And that's probably why I got traded. You know what I'm saying? But that and Chauncey, Chauncey, when I went to Denver, Chauncey came to Denver and we were balling. Like, to me, Chauncey was one of the, like, a guy a one-on-one guy.
So gifted, bro.
Oh, my God. Chauncey's crossover was so crazy.
Yes, gifted.
And at the time, Chauncey knew how to play, but he didn't know how to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
he could get a bucket.
He could get
one-on-one
a bucket.
game was ridiculous.
Yes, but, and I would always be like, you know what I'm saying? And just try to help him, like, understand, like, okay, we're in a losing situation, but that's not how it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then once he finally got with Larry Brown probably was telling him the same shit I was telling him back in the day.
Yeah. He
finally, realized it, because in the beginning, Chauncey was traded quite a few times. You know what I'm saying? So I was just trying to mold him, you know what I'm saying, help him understand, like, winning basketball, because I had came from the Lakers and I understood what winning was about, how you need to play, especially when you got better guys. At that time, we had McDyess, you know what I'm saying, we had Mercer, guys who we gotta deflect to. So those two guys were probably the main two who I would try to school.
Yeah, so if you was coming into this era now as who you were, and you're playing at Cincinnati now, and you're about to go in the draft, what would you do differently? I think you kind of explained earlier about the Seattle workout and missing the Charlotte workout. Would you care more about what people thought? Or, just give me your mindset if you were coming out. Now, I know it's hard to do, but your younger self now coming out in this era.
So if I had to go back and do it all over again, like, let me go back. So my thing was, my biggest goal, my dream was to make the NCAA tournament. That was I had no idea that I would ever play in the NBA. That wasn't a dream. I didn't see anybody who I can talk to, you know what I'm saying, get information from. I just always loved the NCAA tournament. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, all
Yeah.
them dudes, and then, you know, the agony of defeat and all that,
Yeah.
thrill of victory. Like, that was like the thing, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get to the NCAA tournament. And so for me, like, one is going to be not have so much of a cocky attitude. You know what I'm saying? When people, you know, try to tell you things, like, you listen, you absorb it, and you try to go incorporate it in your game.
Yeah.
And not just in your game, but just like in life, period. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it was a thing where when I came out, like, it was just like just go full throttle. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't go full throttle. You got to sit back. You got to relax. You got to take the criticism. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's great criticism. You know what I'm saying? You got to accept it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys now, it's a sensitive. It is so, if somebody says something about somebody, no, like especially if you're getting it from people who've played, they're not hating. Like, they've been there, they've done it. Like, they're just trying to give you game. And I wish I probably would have took more game from, because Ron Harper was a guy I played with a lot in the summer leagues in Columbus, Ohio. He would always be like, you got it, but you got to do this, you got to do that.
Shout out to Harp.
Man, Harp, get your ass out here. But Harp was he just always kept it real. Brad Sellers was another one. Like, they always kept it real with me. And I just wish that sometimes guys, like, when they get criticism from elders, like, don't take it as constructive.
Yeah.
You know, I'm negative criticism. Take it as constructive criticism. That's going to help you. But shit, they getting so much money now. They can.
And shout out to Brad Sellers. So I love the vets, man, that try to take the young guys under their wings and kind of talk. Because I think now the young guys don't want our advice. I think they feel like they got their own little deal going. Yeah. And that they what's up, OG, and keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
But I think that if you have an opportunity to speak to Nick Van Exel or me, and you see us, you should ask us something. You should say, even though we played in different eras, we still understand the PG position. We still understand what it takes. You're recently a coach in the NBA, and played the PG position, and you're seeing it from a different view. What are you? I say a twofold question: the PG position, your thoughts on that, and what are the intangibles? It might go in one that you think it takes to be a great PG in this era, because we can't even say in all eras, but just in this era. From the coach's point of view, from what you've seen.
From a coach's point of view, I think, for one, like, to keep it very basic, like, you got to be able to shoot the ball. That's number one. Like, that's like priority number one. You got to be able to knock down open shots. That's number one. And nowadays, it's not like, you know, when we played, we had big guys who we had to deliver the ball to.
Yep.
So that's kind of gone away. But I think what's still there is managing, you know, like managing a clock, you know. So being a coach now in this era, like, guys may come down and shoot a horrible shot.
Yeah.
And their thinking is, man, it's the second quarter. We're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my thinking is, but every possession matters.
Yep.
And they don't look at it like that now, because it's like it's so many possessions, there's so many threes being thrown up. They don't take possessions as important as we did back in the day, because they feel that there's so many possessions in the game, they're going to get it back. So, and then another thing is just like, the thing that drives me crazy is like post-entry passes is gone. Like, guys cannot make a post-entry pass. It's like the most craziest thing. But being able to settle your team down, knowing the score, knowing the time, you know what I'm saying, getting your teams in the right set, getting good shots, you know, little things like that I think is definitely missing. And it comes back in the playoffs. Like, people always talk about, you know, the way the game is going now, but as soon as you get into the playoffs, what happens? They go back to old school basketball. Yeah. They go back to slowing it down, running the set. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get the good shot, trying to find the right matchups for you to score the ball. And, yeah, those are some of the things that I look at from a point guard position now.
Yeah, I think another thing I would add is watching film. You think these guys watch film to study?
Yeah, I do think that. And I think they watch way more than what we watch.
Okay, that's good.
And the reason, because there's so many coaches. So now it's like you have so many coaches assigned to players. So what happens is, you know, before a game, or it could be before practice or after practice, that their coaches who are assigned to certain players, we're editing clips and we got the clips for players. So I think they watch way more film than what we watch. And I think they need to, because I think it helps them. I don't think we had to watch as much film, because I think back then, like, we were more like, our IQ was a little bit better. And no disrespect, but I think our IQ was better than the guys that play now. And we have to watch so much film with these guys for help them understand.
I think the reason why our IQs were so much better is because from high school, our coaches taught us how to be our position.
Mm-hmm.
I think they held us accountable for not only scoring, but facilitating, getting the big man the ball,
Mm-hmm.
knowing time to score, possession,
Mm-hmm.
not turning the ball over. And that's what I was going to segue into my next thing. Because it's such a scoring league, do you think these guards need to do better getting the assists, knowing when to play make, knowing when to take over the game, and all that in today's game? Or do you think the scoring is what it needs to be in today's era?
I mean, this is what the NBA wants. So they want the up and down game. They want the 3-ball. So I think guys now, so you know how guys always want to compare eras.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of young players that are playing now, they feel like a lot of old players are hating. And my thing is that the game has changed. So with the game changing, I don't say players are soft. Like everybody else say, these guys are soft.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
I don't think guys are soft. I think they adjust to what they're given, adjust to the rules. And you can throw some of these dogs that are playing now and not even dogs underneath them, you can put them in the 90s and vice versa. You're going to adjust to what, you see every single day. And so to me, it's like when guys are playing a certain way, they're playing a certain way because this is their era. This is how they play. And, David Fisdale, who I worked for in Memphis, he always told us to, you got to adapt or die. You know what I'm saying? So the game is moving fast. It's moving fast. So you guys got to start coaching the moving fast. You players got to start playing fast. That's what it is. It's adapt or die league now.
The analytics part of it has changed the game, a bunch. And so I've been watching a lot. I study a lot of film. I watch a lot. There are a lot of good, smart, young coaches in the league that know their stuff. Taylor Jenkins being one of them.
Yes.
That dude is brilliant. Yes. And you can pay me later, Taylor. But just watching the league now and seeing the sets, seeing what they do, seeing how they run and all that. The last thing I'll ask you before we get out of here is the young Nick, from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I'm killing in this era.
You the man right now coming in.
I'm killing. Like,
but your game fit our era and now.
Our game.
Our
both. Game is it's like it's one guy, and every time I see him, I tell him thank you, because Tim Hardaway.
Oh yeah, shout out to Tim.
Was a guy
Killer.
Two-step was a guy who used to come down in transition and pull 3. You didn't see that much.
Right. Nelly gave him that freedom, but he did it well.
Freedom, you didn't see that much. Like when we were coming up, like you come down and shoot a 3 in transition and you miss. Oh no, you on the bench.
Yeah.
But Tim, he got that freedom from Nelly, and I tell Tim, I said, you kind of transitioned, you know what I'm saying, to now, you know what I'm saying. But it took a while. But like Nelly's vision, Tim Hardaway was able to do it, you know what I'm saying. And I tell guys, I'm like, when I coached, I never talked about the way I played because they don't want to hear that shit.
They don't want to hear that.
And I never did that. But in my head, I'm like, ooh, if I played now, just because of the freedom.
Yeah,
just because of the freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I can come down and shoot 10 to 15 threes.
And nobody cared.
Not this, you miss a 3, like, I never looked at the bench, but if you see a coach over there, if you miss a 3, like now, you go down and miss a 3, they be like, you miss
shoot the next one.
2 or 3 in a row. It's like, man, if we had that freedom, like the freedom to just go out and hoop right now, like, is a luxury that these guys have. They have a luxury. And then, not just that, the spacing.
Yeah.
The spacing is like,
yeah, we had the bigs
so
in the
wide
paint.
open. We had, so one game, Trae Young, and Trae's a dog. He's a dog. He he's playing, and John Collins, John, he wanted to rock. He was a big who could score in the post. So he came down like 3 times in a row on the right side block. Trey come down on the right, John go right to the block. And Trey can't work because John right there. So we call a timeout, and Trey come to the bench. He like, man, so he's, man, I can't do nothing. Every time I get ready to make a move, John right there. So this is what I told him. I said, imagine how I played. I said I got 2 7-footers right there.
Yeah.
And I had 2 6'11" right there.
Right.
I said that was my world.
Right.
You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
That's
I said,
world.
you got it great.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's different, man. But like you said, it's spacing and everything. Again, we feel like we would have killed this era.
Oh yeah.
Because of the spacing and the freedom. Not that these guys are weak or that there's
not at all.
We just feel like with the freedom that they have, that we would have been able to boogie.
Yeah. I just want to say this. Like, I've been seeing things on the internet when they talk about injury guys.
Uh-huh.
And they talk about guys who would do this and would do that. And like for me personally, like you and freaking Grant Hill, oh my God. Like if we don't have injuries.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. Like
shout out to G.
And I always give you your props when I talk to people because they don't know you because it's been so long.
Yeah.
And I tell young guys, I say, man, you don't need to know me. Like, you weren't even born. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get mad at that. But like you and Grant Hill, if you two would stayed healthy, oh my God.
God had a different plan, but no, I appreciate that, brother. It's just love. And for all the guys, from Brandon Roy to T-Mac.
Yes.
T-Mac still had a good run,
Yes.
but he started getting injured at the end.
Yes.
Derrick Rose, a lot of guys, because I see these things on Instagram. Who would you take if he wouldn't have gotten hurt and all that, man? It was a beautiful thing. We just feel like those injuries happen for a reason. But in our primes, hey, we feel like we could boogie with anybody, man. But I want to ask you this question, man. You know, I've had my name dropped. I might have had my name dropped by Hov, Party Like Little Pennies, I think, something like
Penny.
that. Yeah. My man Hov, shout out to Hov. How does that make you feel when Hov stamped you, man? Because he respect your guy. I know Hov. He got a lot of respect for ballers, and that man, he loved your game. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, so we came up in the hip-hop era.
Yeah.
Like, we just love all hip-hop.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about it is I didn't hear the song, and the song probably was out for like 2 months. And so when we played the San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs, and when I was in Dallas, I get a phone call. Like, I'm about to leave. We just lose the series 4-2 or whatever. I get a phone call, and one of the Mavericks persons runs up to me. This Jay-Z's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, he get on the phone. Hey, man. You know how he talk.
Yeah, real
Man,
smooth.
I appreciate you. Man, dog, when I tell you that summer was the craziest summer I ever had in my life, because I was going to Miami, you know what I'm saying? I was just going out kicking it. You know what I'm saying? And every time that song came on, you know what I'm saying, I had my boys like, they talking about him. Like, that was love.
Yeah,
that's
that's tough, man. Shout out to all the hip-hop artists, man, that show the athletes love, former and current, man. Love y'all, man. For sure. But again,
Oh, my God.
thank y'all for watching me and Quick, Van Exel. We appreciate you watching My 2 Cents podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.